Hi, everyone. Sandra here with the Mortgage Center. I have a special guest, Alex Gulino from Value Connect. Now, we have a lot of realtors registered for this webinar, and I see that they're all coming online. So we're just going to wait a minute or two, but we certainly appreciate all of those realtors who have joined us on time. Alex.
Yes, absolutely.
Before we get started, Alex, maybe what I can do is I can introduce you as the attendees are coming online. And as I said, we've got about 40 people registered today.
Awesome.
So now, Alex, as you know, appraisals have become more and more critical. And it's funny, I think I had a very similar webinar last year, and the market was a lot different. And what we were doing is we were trying to catch up on values.
Hmm.
So, and this year we're in a different market. So instead of homes appreciating in value, we're starting to see home values soften.
Hmm.
So, for those of you who are joining us and you haven't heard of Value Connect, Value Connect is one of Canada's leading appraisal services company. So Alex is not just, he's not an appraiser, right?
Right.
But Alex, you are actually talking to some of Value Connect's key customers
Hmm.
across Canada, right? So Alex has a really great um, purview of what's happening across Canada when it comes to so not just in our little community of Ontario or Guelph and the surrounding area. You have a really great national um, snapshot on what's happening,
Hmm.
and that's what we're really going to talk about today. Is we're going to be, because our main message today and our main participants today are real estate agents. So Alex, getting appraisals done. So we are seeing some very interesting things right now in the real estate market.
Hmm.
And, tell us a little bit more and kind of what you're seeing in respect to getting appraisals done and the financing process.
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me. First off, yeah. So, what most people have been finding, especially coming off the last kind of 3 years of, kind of a gangbusters market, most people were used to the craziness of prices increasing. The big thing about prices increasing is holding off can change a little bit, right? Now that we're
So holding
finding
off on the appraisal,
holding
right?
off, kind of waiting to see how the market in that past has kind of benefited a lot of people in terms of some price changes, policy change, whatever it may be. But over the past little bit with the downturn market, we're actually seeing quite the opposite. Um, Unfortunately, holding off now could be
On holding off on actually
on
doing the appraisal.
on the
Yeah.
appraisal itself could be detrimental. So what is suggested more or less is to get the appraisal ordered as soon as you have your commitment letter, really, as soon as possible. This will avoid any kind of changes in market price points, changes in lender policies too. We're finding that a lot of people are having to update certain policies they haven't really looked at in a while. And also, it just avoids all scrambling at the last few days, and no one wants to
Yeah,
scramble
I
at
hate
close.
that. Yeah, and I get calls on that all the time. So I just wanted to remind realtors that what we're seeing actually in the market right now is that 80% of conventional mortgages. So if you got a buyer who's putting 20% down or more, they are likely going to need an appraisal.
Mhm.
And we do actually do financing in a lot of rural areas. So sometimes even when the mortgage is insured against default, what we're finding is a default insurer is requesting an appraisal as a part of the financing process. So again, remember, one of the things for realtors, and this is we always have a clear and good communication line with realtors, and you will know if it's a client of ours, you will know whether an appraisal is required right up front. But I can tell realtors that 80% of the time, if there's a conventional purchase and they've got 20% down or more, doesn't matter how much money they have as a down payment, you're probably looking at an appraisal. And so getting that appraisal done early. And I've actually had clients, because we do an excellent job at pre-approving clients. So we, pull their credit, get their income documents together. We confirm their down payment. We look at the debt ratios. There are times where the client might not actually need a financing condition, but we've requested a condition for an appraisal,
Mhm.
right?
That's a great
So
addition. Yeah.
yeah. Now, how can realtors tell me a little bit more about uh, some of the things that Value Connect is doing with AVMs and auto valuation models?
Oh yeah, so we have a couple different things. So a Value Connect, as well as working Canada wide. So whatever customer or whatever need you have in the appraisal world, we are there to help. But some additional stuff that you can kind of do to add some value to your clients would be more along that automated valuation model, which, as you mentioned, is the AVM. The AVM is a quick kind of look at what the value based on certain markets are. So based on certain
And
historical
this
data,
would be like a value added thing that realtors can provide, right?
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. So if you have clients that are looking to kind of see what their house is, so if you're a selling agent and you're looking to kind of sell the house and you want to justify the price point that they're putting on the market, an AVM is a really affordable, quick way to see, okay, based on historical data and data in my area, what are houses selling for? What are the trends looking for? And it'll give you a confidence rating as well as some comparables to take a look at. So it's just an added thing to bring to your client to be like, listen, this is what I think the price point should be based on the market. Because the worst thing would be to overprice a house and then watching all the houses around you sell, as well as underpricing the house and then it just getting
Yeah.
taken up quite quickly. This can also be a great addition for anyone helping their clients in a purchase, justifying the house, justifying the price point that they're looking at purchasing. So a quick way, just for some added information, and especially with the way the market has been changing, going back and kind of forth, and everything is kind of it's changing quite a lot. This is just something to help solidify and justify your way of thinking.
Yeah, so this is a neat tool, and I've seen some of the realtors that we work with actually use this effectively.
Yeah.
So they would contact Value Connect.
Mhm.
They'd set up an account where they can have these auto valuation. It's called the AVM, auto valuation model. Is that what it's
Mhm.
called? Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. And then that the realtor can use this tool for the listing presentation. And I
Mhm.
almost feel like the way that I've seen people use this is the auto valuation tool can be a supplement, but it can be the bad guy for you. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, yes. It's especially if you have someone that's in a way of thinking that, just isn't making sense.
Yeah.
And every now and then we deal with someone that we're just in the conversation, it feels like we're just hitting a wall.
Yeah.
Something's not right. We're just not on the same page. An AVM is a great way to be like, hey, look, and I found this out. This is actually what the market is saying your house is worth. It also goes a little bit above and beyond because it does take in a couple different criteria that say just looking through MLSs wouldn't take into account. It's also much quicker. The amount of time you would spend doing that research and putting everything together, this is way quicker, a little bit more thorough, and it is instantaneous. So if you need to order one and you're in the middle of a conversation with your client,
Yeah.
it will not take very much time for you to sign up and order it and have the report back while you're still having that conversation.
Right. And what we'll do is we'll include in this webinar, well, obviously we're recording it, but we'll post it on YouTube, and we'll make sure we follow up with the realtors and give them your contact information. So if they're interested in finding out a little bit more about that. I did jump ahead a little bit, Alex.
It's okay.
And one of the things that, like we talked about appraisals and doing them early.
Hmm.
And one of the things that, I wanted realtors to be aware of is that what we're finding is that many appraisals are coming in um, lower than what the purchase price is.
Right.
So, I just did an appraisal. It was a purchase price of 900,000. The appraisal came in at 870, right?
Hmm.
So we're seeing that kind of trend, even if we're doing the appraisals early. So it's even more important to do them early in the financing cycle. But what I wanted to tell our listeners today was that you always want to make sure that you have that your mortgage professional has worked out a plan B for the customer.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. So remember, on conventional financing, you want to make sure that the mortgage amount is at least less than 80% of the appraised value of the property. So, if a person is putting a significant amount of money as a down payment, a low appraised value is not as big of a deal, because if they're putting a significant amount of money up for a down payment, the mortgage amount will be low compared to the value.
Right.
But we have a lot of people, even if they're moving up, they're just scratching that surface of having a minimum of 20% as a down payment.
Hmm.
So even a low appraised value of 5 or 10,000 might be an issue for them. Because remember, 80% of the deals that we're doing require appraisals.
Right.
Right. So having a good plan B is important. One of the things that we do as a plan B for clients is we make sure that if they're just kind of scratching that surface of 20% down, and they're kind of, even if they're buying and selling, the one thing is, can they get approved for an insured mortgage?
Mm.
Right. Yeah. So, and the criteria is a little bit stringent more stringent on insured mortgages, right? Remember that? Yeah, 25-year amortization, and you've got the insurance premium. So,
Hmm.
that's also an important part is, if the appraised value does come in less, even if we do it early, is always have a plan B. And I think that's where realtors can really shine and differentiate themselves.
Hmm.
What would be the difference between, Alex, for you, realtors? I ask them often to do a comparative market analysis
Hmm.
before the offer is submitted. So at least we know whether or not appraisal is going to come in less.
Yeah. Yeah, so that would go into like back into like the AVM way of kind of adding some additional support. When everything is better than you've seen, when we're in a situation that things are always coming up better and better, and markets uptaking, being a being a little bit less prepared can be justified because
Okay.
because things
Mhm.
are up tweaking, right?
Yeah.
You are going into a market where things are actually getting better, but when you're in a downturn market, you need to be prepared. Being
Yeah.
underprepared can literally lose you a deal. It
Yeah.
can lose you trust. It can destroy all the rapport you have with your client. It can destroy pretty much everything. So, making sure that you know your market, you know the areas you're looking for, and you're looking after your client and doing all your due diligence by having the plan B, as you mentioned, exploring the option of having different tools to justify your way of thinking. The
Yeah. That's
more
excellent.
the more justifications you have, the more you can support yourself and you can support your client. And that's what anyone is looking for. They're looking for a good client and customer experience. They want to feel like they're being looked after. So the more that you can show that you're doing, the better you'll be all the way
Yeah.
through.
That's great. So let's just summarize this for the wrap up, Alex. So
Yeah.
the first thing we had talked about is getting appraisals done early in the financing process,
Yes.
right? So The realtors can provide a CMA on the property. So when you submit an offer, one of the things that we ask for is get us the MLS with the seller's name on it for the property that they're buying
Mhm.
and do a CMA, right? They may want to, we could also include an AVM on that, just so that the buyer is aware of it. On the flip side, if the realtors, like you were saying, they need to be prepared for their listing presentations.
Yes.
And Value Connect's got a really great tool for that to help differentiate your listing presentation from other realtors, because there are only 17 realtors on this webinar today. There's probably 100 over 500 realtors in the area, so it's a really great point of differentiation.
Hmm.
And we'll send your contact information out to the participants.
Yeah, for sure.
The next thing we had talked about is just having a plan B. So making sure that the mortgage professional that your client is working with, one, knows what they're doing and also has a good plan B. And
Absolutely.
and what's the take home message on this, Alex? What's the one thing you want to leave realtors as we wrap things up?
Realtors, just to kind of make sure that you're talking with your mortgage professional as well, guys. Having the support from different members of the industry is huge. So pairing up with people like Sandra that know their stuff and have these options for you to kind of make sure that you're looking after your client the best way possible, I think is the biggest take home. Markets will go up and down, and Value Connect is always here to assist you in anything appraisals, whether you want to talk about market trends, whether or not you want some additional assistance, whether or not you just have some generic questions, we are here to support. So just make sure you are utilizing all the key people in the industry and look after your client's best interest.
That's great. Thank you, Alex. Thanks so
So
much, everyone, for joining us on this webinar, and we'll post this on our YouTube channel, and we'll make sure that we get Alex's information to you.
yeah,
Thanks, Alex. Always agree. I know Value Connect has always been an excellent resource for us. So thanks so much for all you do, Alex, for the industry. We appreciate it.
thank you guys.
Okay,
Have a great
have a
one.
good day.
See ya.
Bye-bye.